To the show. Let's bring in Bryce Eldridge. Let's welcome in Lee Jung-hoo from Rocky Mountain, North Carolina. He wears number 65, Landon Root.
Well, I appreciate it, Bill. I always enjoy talking to you.
Let's welcome in Wade Boggs. Let's bring in Will the Thrill. He's the ace of the staff. Let's welcome in Logan Webb. Logan, how are you today?
Hi, I'm doing good. Good to be on here.
Welcome to Extra Innings with Bill Laskey.
Giants sweep the LA Dodgers.
Sponsored by Lunardi's Markets of the Bay Area. Quite simply the best. Right here on your exclusive home of the San Francisco Giants. KNBR, the sports leader.
So Leisure's got to come in. Bader knows it. We all know it. Here it comes. Swinging a fly ball. Center field hit well. Peters back at the wall. Out of here. Bader with a grand slam. And this place is going bananas.
Welcome into a Saturday afternoon extra inning post-game show, and the Giants break a 4-game losing streak. And how do you do that? You get everybody in the lineup to participate. Every one of the 9 hitters got a hit today. 5 of them got 2 hits and 3 long balls. One by Schmidt, a grand slam by Bader, and a solo by Adames to add it in the 8th inning. But it was a great offensive production for the Giants today as they scored 10 runs on 14 hits. 14 hits. And they out-hit the White Sox yesterday, but the one inning, the White Sox scored 9, and they just couldn't catch up today. They took the lead, and the White Sox came back on Adrian Hauser in the 5th inning to tie it 3-3, and the Giants put 6 on the board in the bottom of the 5th inning, a home run by Casey Schmidt, and then a couple misplayed sun balls by Miguel Vargas that opened up the door. Chapman ends up getting a double, and then Harrison Bader hits a pop-up, and, again, no sunglasses on, and the sun is just blazing right now to left field and on the left side of the infield. And Miguel Vargas just didn't see it, and it landed foul. And the next couple pitches after that, Bader just hits a 3-1 fastball up in the zone, straightaway center field, 425 feet, and a grand slam, and the place erupted. A sold-out crowd at Oracle Park, and a good game by the Giants to break this 4-game losing streak. And now they have an opportunity to win the series tomorrow, a 105 game against the Chicago White Sox. And then the Arizona Diamondbacks come back in, and they got to do a couple damage reports on that. As you know, they went to Arizona and got swept, and now it's got to come back to Oracle and do some damage against the Diamondbacks. But one more game tomorrow would be nice to win the series. You start looking at what happened today. Of course, a couple hits in the 3rd inning. They just couldn't score. Then the 4th inning, a triple by Luis Ariz, a nice fly ball by Casey Schmidt to deep right field to score the run. Devers gets a base hit off the wall. Chapman gets a base hit into the right field. Devers goes to 3rd, and Chapman runs behind him and gets a second. A nice hustle play by Matt Chapman. The first pitch, Daniel Susac hits, and he hits a nice base hit to left field, scores 2. And you know what? It just started clicking there. I thought right then and there the team was aggressive. They hit the ball well. Bryce Eldridge, 2 nice at-bats. The first at-bat he had in the 3rd inning, 11 pitches before he stroked a base hit. He challenged a ball and strike count in the 4th inning and ended up getting another base hit. So he was nice 2 for 2 and got a walk, and then he flied out to right field. A nice day by him, 2 for 3. But when you look at this lineup, 1 through 9, everybody contributing. Luis Ariz, 2 hits, Casey Schmidt, 2, Chapman, 2, Bryce Eldridge, 2, and Bader, 2. That's the production we've been waiting for. This is the offense from 1 to 9 that needs to start clicking. Sure, we keep saying, it's going to go and it's not, Scott. Then it's going to go and it's going to stop. This is something that you got to continue to keep doing. And today we finally saw some positivity out of this lineup, and the home run ball was huge. Since Bader's been off the IL, he has really been hitting the ball well. 4 home runs he's had and 10 RBIs, something that we need to see out of Bader a little bit more. And his defense, I think his defense has been super in center field, especially with some of the balls in the gap. He really traces them extremely well in the right center and the left center. In Arizona, those 3 games, he was chasing balls to the wall. And I just think it's a plus with him in center field. Now with Jung-Hoo Lee being on the IL, Gilbert is in right, and then Casey Schmidt's in left, and he's been an average job. He's been doing pretty well in left field, nothing different, and where he's been botching balls or overthrowing, and you need to keep him in the lineup. Again, a home run today. Casey Schmidt goes 2 for 4. He's hitting .291 now. His average has gone up. And, of course, Luis Arraez going 2 for 5 today. He hitting .323. That's right, .323. The guy's got a magnet with his bat to get hits. So today, a good game. Giants are 21-31. They got a mounted attack here. As if they can win tomorrow, get the series moving to Arizona. They got a real tough road trip next weekend. It's starting. They go to Colorado for 3. Then they go to Milwaukee for 4. Then they come right back and play the Cubs in Wrigley for 3. So another 10-day road trip. And they got to get ready for it. June's going to have another quick month coming at you. And there's a lot of good teams coming to against the San Francisco Giants. All right, 415-808-KNBR. Get on the phone lines. Let's talk some Giants baseball. And let's talk about this team, the ups and downs. I'm Bill Laskey. This is the Extra Inning Post-Game Show. More coming up as we take a break quick on KNBR.
Bill is back.
Fired up, bringing it, all excited.
This is KNBR Extra Innings with Bill Laskey.
Sponsored by Lenardi's Markets of the Bay Area. Quite simply, the best.
Listen on your Google Home smart speaker by saying play KNBR.
3-2 pitch. Swing, and there's a high drive into deep left center. Way back there, still going. Adios! Pelota! A home run for Willie Adames. His 6th of the year, and it's 10-3 Giants.
Welcome back to the Extra Inning postgame with Bill Laskey. Willie Adames hitting a 3-2 fastball out to left field. Nailed it for his 6th home run of the year. Really hitting the ball well lately in his past 11 games. Hitting .325, 3 home runs, 9 RBIs for Willie Adames. Doing a great job. And I want to shout out here for the bullpen. The bullpen, we've taken a lot of heat by the closer role and other things like that. The bullpen is 10th in Major League Baseball with just under a 3.4 earned run average, 9 saves on the year. We know that. That's where the trouble is. But they've been doing an outstanding job. And once again today, they nailed it. After Adrian Hauser got in trouble in the 5th inning, Matt Gage came in with an inning of third work with only giving up 1 hit, punched the side out for 4 strikeouts, threw the ball well. Sam Hedges came in with 1 inning with a walk and a couple punch out. And Joe Peguera, the 101-mile-an-hour fastball, threw 2 innings, 2 hits, 1 strikeout. So when you look overall, they go 4 1/3 innings, 3 hits, 1 walk, 7 strikeouts. So a good shout-out to the Giants bullpen to put the rest, the White Sox with zeros on the board for the Giants to win this one 10-3. Robbie Ray on the hill tomorrow. He's got to come back from that bad outing he had in Arizona where he gave up 9 earned runs. And if you remember, 6 pitches into the game, Arenado hits a grand slam. So there's no question he wants to go out there tomorrow and get a win and let the Giants win this series against the Chicago White Sox. 415-808, give him KNBR if you want to give me a call. Let's go to Horace. He's in Monterey. Horace, you're on a Saturday postgame show. How are you?
Mr. Laskey, how are you, sir?
It's always great to get a win, and it's always better when you break a losing streak, right, Horace? They lost 4 in a row, and today they needed that W.
It's been a tough one. I got to tell you, this whole season, and it seems like it's been this way for several years now, I just don't understand why we lack the consistency. When I see a game like today, when I see us being able to hit the ball, scoring the runs, and then we go through these droughts where it's like there's nobody there. Do you think that's the manager's job? I mean, how do you keep these guys more consistent so that we can – because there are flashes where I say, you know, we might be a contender for a wild card spot. But it's just so frustrating.
Yeah, Horace, you know, and I can't go back to this all the time. It's early in the season, 52 games, but you're saying exactly what I see too, the inconsistencies, and I think that's what makes all Giants fans a little nervous in these games. Sure, you got a 9-3 lead, and you're going to the bullpen, and you're just wondering, is the White Sox going to score? You know, you start having doubt instead of saying this game's over. Just like yesterday when the White Sox scored 9, there was no fret on their side. Their bullpen shut it down. But this year, the Giants don't have that consistency, as you say. The confidence has got to build with the offense. I really believe if they can do this, and I said it early, every guy in the lineup got a hit. 5 guys in this lineup got 2 hits, and you give up 3 home runs. So those are all positives that have to continue. And, Horace, you're absolutely right. We need to see more consistency out of the offense.
You know, the thing is, Bill, I know you say that, you know, we're only 52 games in, but we're 10 games under 500.
Yeah.
And to try and build back to 500 itself is going to be a manly task. And God knows I want to see it. But I just hope that we can see a little more consistency. And I feel bad for Buster. I feel bad for the new manager. I mean, look, he can only do so much. He's not out on the field playing. These guys, and you know these guys want to do good for him and for Buster. Let's just hope we can turn this thing around and at least have a season where we're not pulling our hair out.
I agree with you, Horace. And the only way you can get back to 500, you have to win series, and you got to take 2 out of 3. Tomorrow's a big game for the Giants. They got to get back at these D-backs. Going into Arizona last week, the earlier part of this week, I should say, with a 4-3 road trip, you were thinking the momentum from Sacramento was just going to carry into Arizona, and they get whipped 12-2 in the first game. Of course, Marte's home run in the second game, a gut punch, and they end up losing 3 in a row. And you get a good road trip where you were 4-3, and you come home 4-6. I didn't see it. I don't think you saw it. Giants fans were like, okay, here we go. Get a good road trip. And you played some really good, talented teams. Now, you got to look at the White Sox. They're a different team, a young team. And they had some momentum coming in here when you look at what they've done, 7-3 in their last 10 games, and they've been playing better baseball, second behind the Cleveland Guardians. But you got to chip away. That's the only way you can get back to being 500. I look at what Don Mattingly did with the Phillies when the Phillies were so down deep under 500, and they battled back. And each team can do it, but you said the magic word. They got to play better and consistent.
And like you said, coming out of Sacramento, I was hopeful that we'd maybe get 2 in Arizona and really kind of keep things rolling. And then that first game, man, what a gut punch. And then after that, it just got worse.
Yeah, that second game was a tough one. I think every Giants fan felt it. It was a punch in the gut that you weren't seeing, up 3-1, and they just couldn't get that last out in the bottom of the 9th inning. It was tough. It was a tough loss, unexpected loss, and it always are unexpected when you get to walk off home runs that Marte did. But you know what? Coming back today, a 4-game losing streak, break it, get some momentum in tomorrow, and I think that's what we need to see with Robbie Ray, of course. After that clunker he had in Arizona, let's see if he mounts an attack and pitches well tomorrow.
Yeah, I'd like to see Robbie turn it around. Anyway, always great talking with you, Bill. Have a great rest of your weekend, and I always love talking with you.
Yeah, Horace, thanks for the call. Let's go to South City and talk to John. John, you're on an extra inning postgame show. A good win by the Giants, double-digit runs and double-digit hits. We love to see that.
You're absolutely right, Bill. And how's it going? A good win today as well, too. It's a great win.
Yeah, it's just a 4-game losing streak. I was baffled like all Giants fans. You just didn't know why. Right back into a losing streak when you played good baseball for the first 7 games of that road trip. But today, I like the aggressiveness going after first pitch. You saw Susak get a nice base hit. I thought they played better. They were more relaxed. And the momentum. They carried the momentum after they scored 3 in the bottom of the 4th to get into that bottom of the 5th inning after the White Sox tied the game. I thought that was the big switch in this whole game.
I agree with you with that one, Bill. And, Bill, I got to ask you a question. As an infielder, do you prefer players to wear sunglasses or not? Because we saw that play with Vargas who misplayed the ball. What's your opinion on that?
Well, and back in my day, John, they used to have the flip-ups, where the flip-ups went underneath the lid of the hat, and then all you'd have to do is punch the lid, and the glasses would come down. With left field the way it is, we saw Barry Bonds, one of the best left fielders that played Oracle Park. The left side of the infield is where that sun comes right over the on-deck circle of the visiting side, and that sun is glaring. And when you put a light blue sky up there, you can't see the ball. You know what? Miguel Vargas made 2 major boo-boos, as we say, because he didn't catch either one of them. Chapman gets a double, ends up Bader getting another opportunity. And thank you, Mr. Miguel Vargas, because you messed both those balls up and the Giants cashed in on him.
I totally loved it when he dropped the ball. I was listening to Kipe on the radio, and then I was like, he's like, I don't think he ever saw it, It barely almost
Well,
hit
I'm
his
sure,
head.
John, you've been out to the park. You've been at the ballpark when that sun's glaring. Even in center field, when you saw some of the balls hit in the 8th inning, the center fielder was having problems with it. It is a tough ballpark to play with the sun, and then you got to mix in the wind, and that's where a lot of ball carries.
Yeah, and plus you have to also deal with the shadows, too, at nighttime as well, too, because you have to understand that you have to deal with the shadows in the middle of the night, It's not easy.
Yeah, and, with visiting teams coming in, the White Sox don't come in here. They didn't come in here last year. The Giants went to Chicago. So, they play a night game last night, and they come out today. Vargas doesn't even have sunglasses on. And like you just talked to me about, do you wear sunglasses? It's really up to the infielders and outfielders. But I tell you what, if Frank Robinson was managed, he would have pulled him right out of the damn game. I mean, guys that made mistakes like that, old-time managers, they didn't take it. They embarrassed you more than giving you another chance.
You're absolutely right. And I thought the team played pretty well today. Schmidt hitting a home run, Bader hitting a home run, and then Thomas hitting a home run. And I want to get kudos to the bullpen. Gage coming in that big inning, getting that huge out as well. And then also Peguero as well. And I leave somebody else hanging. I believe I let Sam Hedges out as well. I thought he pitched well. Kudos to the bullpen.
Yeah, and I kind of talked about that a little bit. We talk about the closer's role, but we forget about all the other guys down there that can add innings. Yesterday Brubaker comes in, gives you 3 nice innings. Today, both of those, all 3 guys, Gage, Hedges, and Peguero, go 4 1/3 and shutout. And I was looking up numbers today. They're 10th best in Major League Baseball with an earned run average under a 3.4. And you got to look at that and say, hey, you know what? They are going out there competing. They just got to find somebody in that 8th and 9th inning that can put the fire out and be that closer.
Right, absolutely. And then, Bill, your last caller said about, getting back to 500. I think they need to start winning the series. And, after getting punched in the mouth like last week against Arizona, if I'm the Giants, you need to go out there and punch Arizona back. It's payback against Arizona on Monday, but we need to take one game at a time as well on that. But I'm just saying we got to punch Arizona in the mouth back.
John, I'm right there with you.
As you know.
Yep, I'm right there with you. And they're going to have a good test. The Arizona Diamondbacks starting 3 good starters. But you win tomorrow, like you say, you go game to game. You win the series against the White Sox, and then you dive into the Diamondbacks. And Landon Roop will get to start on Monday, so that'll be a good start. And then you drive from there, But again, as you said, as I said, you win series because it's always 2 out of 3 or 3 out of 4. That's how you chip away to get back to 500. And, hey, they got a road to go, no question, but it's going to happen in the month of June. And if it doesn't happen in June, it'll happen in July. And you still got a ladder to climb. You've only got 52 games in, but they can't get on these losing streaks, John. And the losing streaks are really baffles all of us.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Hey, Bill, I got to ask you a question. What do you think about those fans last night taking out their shirts last night? What's your reaction about that?
Hey, well, tarps off. That's what it's called. It's been going on in football, and then it started in baseball last week. In St. Louis, they did it. I guess, I don't know if it was a team or fraternity, and the Cardinals switched. They momentum went their way. They ended up winning the game. Manager calls all of them into the clubhouse. It went crazy. It was fun last night. I did the post-game show last night, and I just thought it brought electricity to Oracle Park. The team was dead, down 9-0, and I thought it just brought excitement, and the fans got into it, waving their shirts. It's a fad. We know that. But, it was fun for the team. And it was fun for the players seeing it, and it kind of generated some energy. Not enough, but again, I thought it was a fun thing for them to do.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Bill. And I remember, I think Kipe and crew were ready to take their shirts off, too, in the booth as well. I want to get down there.
Well, John, thanks for the call. Let's see if they can win the series tomorrow.
Thank you, Bill.
I appreciate
it.
All right. Hey, let's go down to Australia and talk to Matt. Matt, how are you down there?
Hi, Bill. How you doing?
I'm doing good. What part of Australia are you coming from?
Coffs Harbour, New South Wales, just south of Brisbane.
Oh, beautiful. How is it going down there? How's the weather in Australia these days?
We're going into autumn, and May has been a very wet month. But, I'm out working and listening to the game, and today was a good game. I think it's obviously ending 4-game losing streaks is good, but I think after the Diamondbacks series, this one meant a little more to come back after yesterday, and then just to be able to do that. That loss in Arizona was really brutal. Played really well, and then lost on a bad one. But I did want to ask you a question in regards to, obviously the Giants were the ones to take a chance on Luis Ariz because he wanted to play second base. Obviously, it's worked out tremendously for them, and he's an amazing hitter. Do you see the Giants trying to make a long-term? He's obviously going to earn his money this offseason with only 1 year, $12 million. Do you see the Giants making a long-term deal with a crowded infield? Where Casey Schmidt could possibly take over second. I mean, it looks like that would be the only place for him to be. I mean, he can play obviously third base, shortstop, but all of those positions are filled in a crowded first base. So do the Giants sign him and then just rotate Casey Schmidt in and out of each of those infield positions? Because this obviously is his breakout season, and I think he might be there for the long term.
Well, I would love to tell you, yeah, they're going to give him a 3-year deal because I would love to see him in the orange and black uniform in length. The guy can definitely hit, old-style hitter. Of course, I go back to the days when Rod Carew were there, Pete Rose, Tony Gwynn. He just is a natural hitter. It's a throwback to me, and I would love to see him. I mean, he's only got 2 errors at second base. He hasn't played second base in years. Of course, Ron Washington, working with him daily, has made his glove golden. I really believe he's played very well at second base. I like his feet work at second base also, quick feet, and he's got a pretty good arm. To me, I would love to see him given an extension, and this is something the Giants need. They need production with hitters, and if you can keep him at 1 or 2 in the lineup, get Jung-Hoo Lee back healthy and get him going, this is a good combination of Jung-Hoo Lee and Arise at the top of the order. Yeah, I would love to see Matt. I would love to tell you I know the direction of the Giants, but again, he's hitting .323, and I think all Giants fans would love to see him back in a Giants uniform for a few more years.
Yeah, I mean, I love it because I played a little baseball, and I don't like pitchers that walk guys, and I don't like hitters that strike out, and obviously that's part of the game. But not striking out, I mean, at least it just feels confident knowing that when he's up there, there's a good chance, 90% chance or more, that he's at least going to put the ball in play or do something, and that's huge for a team. I mean, those strikeouts have just plagued the Giants with runners in scoring position and these kind of things. I think Patrick Bailey was there, and yeah, it's just tough.
I think you hit the word right there. He's good with runners in scoring position. He hits the hole. He goes the opposite way real well. He pitches the contact. All positive things of a good hitter. And, 3-time champ of hitting the best hitter in the National League. He has done everything in his resume, and he's only 29 years old. I don't think he wants to play first base. He doesn't want to be a DH. He wants to be up the middle, and that's why I think Buster Posey had an opportunity to sign him and give him a chance at second base. That hole was empty. There wasn't anybody that was fighting for that position. And like you say, Casey Schmidt may go in there. If Casey Schmidt can play the outfield, which he's doing now, they got to keep his bat in the lineup. And that infield, again, is solid when you got Chapman, Adames, Arise, and Devers. Those contracts are going to keep them there. And hopefully we can get the right number for Matt to get Luis Arise an extension. But we'll find out. But right now, I think we all enjoy watching him hit daily.
Absolutely, and I love to see Daniel Suzak continue to get time. That's awesome to see. It might be that thing we were hoping for from Patrick Bailey for so long. Hopefully Suzak will be that guy.
Yep, I'm right there with you. Matt, thanks so much for calling in. I appreciate your time today, and enjoy Australia. What a beautiful country you're in.
Thanks, Bill.
All right, we're going to take a quick break on the Extra Inning Post-Game Show. We've got a few on hold, 415-808, KNBR. Give me a call. We'll talk more Giants baseball as the Giants break that 4-game losing streak today as they win 10-3 at Oracle. Robbie Ray on the hill tomorrow, first pitch 105, but we'll be right back on KNBR, the sports leader.
The game may be over, but we know you want to talk more ball. So KNBR Extra Innings with Bill Laskey continues.
Sponsored by Lenardi's Markets of the Bay Area. Quite simply, the best.
We are KNBR 104.5 and 6.8, the sports leader.
Gage coming in and, getting Montgomery out, the 4-hole hitter, kind of turned the vibe around a little bit. And when you're at home, I think you should have that mindset. And maybe I was just imagining it. But we hit last. So, we score and they punch back. Then at some point we punch back. And again, we have the last at bat. If anyone knows about being on the road and not having the last at bat, it's us. So, but the guys, it wasn't a big rallying cry or anything like that after that inning. It was kind of like Gage got us out of a jam and let's roll. And, worked out in that inning for a few different reasons, as you mentioned.
All right, back on the Extra Inning postgame show. Tony V in his postgame remarks talking about Matt Gage coming in with a situation with Vargas hitting a double in the 5th inning when the guy tied the game up 3-3. And, of course, Vargas was the go-ahead run. And Matt Gage came in and punched out Colson Montgomery, their 4-hitter. And then he proceeded the next inning to punch out the side after giving up a base hit to Mydroth. But he pitched well, and we had talked about that earlier in the show. The whole bullpen did, going 4 1/3 innings without allowing a run, 7 punch-outs. So certain scenarios, I think Tony's starting to feel it in the middle innings and not so much as a closer position to kind of put the fire out in the middle innings, and he did it today really well. The bullpen pitched well, and the Giants prevail with a 10-3 score. Tomorrow, Robbie Ray takes the hill for the Giants, a 105 start. He's 3-6 with a 4.2 earned run average. He had a 3.05 going into that last game. And it was this miserable game. He went 4 1/3 innings, giving up 11 hits and 9 earned runs. Just tore up his stats. Before that, he pitched 4 2/3, gave up 3 earned runs to the Dodgers, and his best outing was 3 times against the Pittsburgh Pirates, where he went 6 innings, 4 hits, 1 earned run. So let's see if Robbie Ray can turn it around. And on the other side, a rookie's throwing for the White Sox, Noah Schultz. He's a left-hander, first year in the big leagues, 22-year-old. Is 2-3 with a 4.9 earned run average, but he's throwing good. 34 2/3 innings, punched out 32. The big number on Noah Schultz, the walks. He's got 21 walks in 24 hits. So they got to mount an attack against a lefty to see if they can get ahead, and then let Robbie Ray get some runs for Robbie Ray and let him come back and pitch a gem tomorrow. Looking for a good gem. 105 start tomorrow. And don't forget, on Monday, Memorial Day, the Diamondbacks are in another day game. It's going to be a 2:05 game. Tuesday's back to 6:45, and then Wednesday, 12:45 games. So the next 3 out of 4 games are day games. Get out to Oracle Park. It's a beautiful ballpark. We all know that. And let's see if the Giants can turn this miserable season around as they're 21-31 and start winning some series. And I think that's what we all want to see. Some more wins in this team, and I think they have it within them. All right, let's go to Saratoga and talk to Bob. Bob, you're on an extra inning post-game show. How are you on a Saturday?
I'm doing well, Bill, and I'm seeing some positives here, and you've already mentioned most of them, but Arise is the best hitter and best player on the team, and I've been disturbed by a couple prominent writers announcing that we should be trading him to rebuild the team. He is the first guy to rebuild the team because he never strikes out, and he also was on the World Championship team as the best player. So they got to keep that guy and build around him, you know. And,
yeah, I think what the writers are saying, Bob, I think what they're saying is the guys that could get you value right now is a Robbie Ray, whose contract's expiring at the end of this year. He'll be a free agent. Of course, Luis Arise is a free agent at the end of this year, and he's guaranteed $12 million this year. I think what the writers are saying is if you look at value with contracts, those are pretty much the 2 pieces the Giants have because all the other pieces have big contracts on them. So I think that's where you're hearing that from and how you're reading it. You're going to get some talent back, but I'm right with you. I would love to see Luis Arise stay here for a few more years. I like what my friend from Australia said. Let's sign him to a couple more years extension. That's the kind of hitter the Giants need in this lineup, and we haven't seen one like that in a while.
And as you mentioned, we got 3 people hitting right now, Arise, Schmidt, and Bader. So we got to hope that they can keep it up because you need about 5 or 6 guys that hit on a regular basis to knock in the runs that we're leaving on base, you know. And I think your idea of winning 2 out of 3 needs to be the motto or the goal for everybody in the clubhouse and on the team and all the fans, because that's the only way we're going to have a chance to get back up there. One other
You're
thing
so
is
right,
that,
Bob. You're so right there. So right.
We need to get Webb and Robbie Ray back at their old form. They're really. I don't know what happened to Webb. I think because he left early from spring training and pitched too many innings in the world competition because he's very patriotic, that he lost something. I don't know what it is, but we need him because he was the mainstay of our starting pitchers. And we need Robbie Ray to get back to his form, but I agree he's getting at an age and where he might be something we can get a good trade for. But we got a lot of good young pitchers, as is well pointed out in the bullpen. We just have to determine who they are and when we put them in, and that's where the pitching coach and the bullpen coach need to get together and start having a strategy, because there's a lot of talent there, but we just don't know who to use when, you know.
Yeah, it's really a undecided moment because, you see Gage come in at the end of the game. Next thing you know, he's in the 5th inning. It's uncharacteristic for bullpens to have an uncharacteristic way of using pitchers. Usually you have roles, certain roles if you're winning, certain roles if you're losing, and that needs to be clarified a little bit more. And you know what? We just don't have the word closer down there, so it might be a closer by committee. A few teams are doing that, and I think you have to gauge it on who you're getting up in the 8th and 9th inning and kind of work around that. But another guy that I would love to see get back on the horse and ride it a little bit more is Eric Miller, because he's got so much talent, the left-hander. Of course, yesterday he comes in, has a nice one inning with 1 walk, punches out 2. I think he could possibly be that closer, but you got to get the confidence in him. And, of course, being injured, he has to get on the mound and throw a little bit more.
Yeah, I agree. Bill, you're a lot younger than I am. Do you remember the poem about Casey at bat?
Oh yeah, why? If that is a baseball
Well,
poem, no doubt, Bob.
But it reminds me because as it ends, it says, "There's no joy in Mudville because Casey has struck out." That's the final word of that poem. Yeah, so I just want to bring that up as a little humor. That's all. So thank you. You're doing such a great job, Bill. It's because you played the game and you know the game and you're a great analyst and everything else. So I really enjoy listening to every minute of you on the radio.
Well, I appreciate that, Bob, and I appreciate your calls. And you hit the head right on the nail today with some of the analysts of what you're analyzing on this team. And definitely I think those are things that they need to achieve. And I like what you said. This team needs to understand to win series. That's the only way you're going to climb out of 10 games under 500.
Thank you, Bill.
All right, let's go to Richard. He's leaving the game at Oracle Park. Richard, what'd you think of the game tonight?
Well, Bill, you did a wonderful job forecasting. The only thing I can tell you is the best player on the team was the player I hadn't seen yet, and that was Bryce. Bryce, that 11 pitch, it was excellent. He really, really showed me something. His swing was good. He was solid. Obviously, the relief pitching was terrific. I left early. I have to admit, when we scored all those runs, I'd seen enough. I left people.
You snuck out, right, Richard? You snuck out of the game. You said, this game's over. I'm out of here.
I did. Calvin said I shouldn't leave that early. I said, no. How often are we ahead by how many runs? In a grand slam, when you see it hit over the center field fence by Bader, I'd seen enough. But, Bill, I just want to tell you, you do a great job. This team will get better. It's still a struggle watching. I've been a season ticket holder forever, but I can tell you, up in the North Bay, all over the Bay Area, there's still a lot of excited fans. And what I love is I see a lot of young people. I see little kids coming, and that was good. Now, you sort of overstated it was a sellout. Trust me, there were a lot of empty seats. But I know it was Memorial Day weekend. It was a day game. There were a lot of things going on in San Francisco and a lot of competition. But it was
a good crowd. Let's put it that way. You and I agree to it. It was a good crowd. We saw the drone going over the ballpark. It looked pretty full, and Kipe called it a sellout. I wasn't at the game. I was watching it on television, and it looked like it was pretty full. But, Richard, the good thing about it is the Giants fans saw a win, and I think that's what Giant fans are going out there preparing the team that needs to play better. And I think that's what all of us want to see, a consistency. All the calls today, would love to see this daily. You know, when you look up and down this lineup, every player had a hit today. That's the plus in this. And 5 of them had 2 hits. So those are things we see, and those are the things we want, and those are the things we want to see more and more of.
But they also played clean defense. The other team had the defensive sort of failure. And, of course, that's the ballpark. And you can remember, I think you can remember Candlestick, and you can remember how wacky that was.
Well, I pitched there a few times, Richard. I remember that ballpark very well.
I know you remember. So do I. I've definitely been there for decades. Okay. So anyway, I just want to thank you. You are a terrific asset to the team, and I hope you keep up.
Well, Richard, thanks for calling in, and I appreciate your time today, too, and I do. I appreciate it, and a lot of good stuff right there. And I like your positivity where you left the game early when they scored 9 runs. So let's see if they can continue to do that and hope for the best. But thanks, Richard, for the call. Let's go to Humboldt and talk to Mark. Mark, you're on an extra inning post-game show with Bill Laskey. Giants win today 10-3. They break the 4-game losing streak. What did you see in them today?
You know, a whole lot of positive there. We got the bats going a little. They came at them. You know, we had a sad game last night. We came back at them, took charge. And I seen what I have seen all year in these guys. They're just about to just break out and take over. But one thing that bothered me about this game, there's something that may have to do with the difference in our record being 21-31, is that should have happened in this game. Is Rafael Devers, I believe it was, leaving the bottom of the sixth, hit a pop-up, stood there watching, didn't hustle it, And baseball, when you're down, you give 110%, and getting to first base is his job. And
you're absolutely right, Mark. Mark, you're 100% right. And the ball that you're talking about, he hit a pop-up, and the ball carried into the infield, and he was still standing at home plate, got a late jump, and the ball landed in the grass, and they still had time to pick it up and throw him out at first base. It was very unprofessional for a player like Rafael Devers. He didn't hustle going down the line, and you said it perfectly. This is what can't happen. These are the mistakes that cannot happen when you're 10 games under 500, and that was a huge mistake. If this game was a 2-1 game, he would be blasted off the airwaves today. But again, hopefully it doesn't happen again.
And, sir, the other part of that, this is what should have happened next. The coach should have thrown. He shouldn't have been back out on the field. When he got to the dugout, he should have been out of the game, put somebody else in, even though we love Robbie's bat and what he can do. I'm sorry. Send a message to the whole team about hustling.
Yeah, I agree in some of that, though, Mark, but it's a different type of game now, Mark. You and I are older. Old school baseball would have done that immediately. The same way when you saw Miguel Vargas not take sunglasses out there and he drops 2 sunballs. Most of the old-time managers would have never even had him because they would have been into the dugout, into the clubhouse, and he would have been in the doghouse. But the game is policed differently, and the managers don't do much of that anymore. They'll discuss it, they'll talk about it, but they should do exactly what you're saying, Mark. Sometimes you humiliate an athlete in doing those things, and guess what? They don't do it again.
Well, I agree, but Vargas, that was his choice not to take glasses, correct? Well,
correct.
It should be implemented into the players. Should have been a natural reaction to hustle to first base.
Oh, I agree. I agree with you. I saw the same thing, and I scratched my head, and then when he got thrown out and they replayed it, and then it even made it worse because they showed it even more, and they showed him not running once he popped it up, and the ball carried right on the infield. And those times you just don't know where the ball's going, and there's so much carry at Oracle Park with the wind. You see left fielders, center fielders miss balls, but that was an opportunity. You hit it and you run. If it's foul, you can come back and hit again. But just like that, it embarrassed himself, and it embarrassed him for getting thrown out after he didn't run. That was the worst part.
It embarrassed me for the coach not benching him.
Yeah. Well, I'm right there with you, Mark. I agree with you 100%.
But that would have been a good time for a message. But I'll tell you what, this Giants team is going to turn it around. They have everything they need, and they are a good group of guys. I believe. I haven't met them personally. I know you're a good guy because I did my homework, but first time I've ever called one of these shows. I played a lot
Mark,
of ball.
Mark, it's fantastic. I'm so glad you're calling in. You need to talk more. Bring it out because you're watching the game, and these are the things that upset you, and this is how we talk it out on talk radio. And you made a valid point. I even talked about my producer when I saw the topic. I'm like, I'm glad somebody is calling Rafi Devers out. As an analyst, yes, I would like to say it, but if you say it, I can expand on it a little bit more. I got to try to bring those positives out and keep the fan base believing this team can win, and which I do too. But when you watch things like that, the mental mistakes, not throwing to the right base, overthrowing, those are the kind of mental errors that should not be at the big league level. And the more you see it, the more these coaches have to implement it a little bit better.
Thank you very much. You're right on the money. And I'll tell you, Nothing against Devers impersonal, and he's starting to get that bat going. And boy, do we need you, Robbie. But
I agree.
the rest of the team will fall behind. But you can't be a leader and not show a hustle. Look at the way Matt Chapman plays the game. That's how the game's played.
Mm-hmm. Well, Mark, thank you for the call. Fantastic talk back here. I appreciate your time, and I appreciate watching these games. Maybe you'll take my seat and become an analyst.
Maybe you'll invite me to a game.
Well, you can call me anytime, Mark. It was a pleasure meeting you and talking to you, and keep supporting these Giants. I appreciate your time. Let's go to Phoenix and talk to Mitch. Mitch, you're on an extra inning post-game show. Giants break a 4-game losing streak. Let's see if they can win the series tomorrow. How are you?
I'm good. Especially Dodgers are losing to Milwaukee. That's a plus, but the Giants, it's a good day. Giants won.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up in Saratoga watching, going to Candlestick, and I think I saw you pitch. But also, when I was living in San Francisco, I've probably been to 50 games or more at Pac Bell and then Oracle. But I talking about Devers, I never heard anybody say, his defense. The other night there was a couple line drives that he got, and it was amazing that he got them. So he's good at defense.
Yeah, his defense, Mitch, has improved. There's no question his defense, and I think he's more relaxed at first base. And I said this earlier in the year, using a bigger glove like a first baseman's glove, he was a third baseman most of his career, and it's a smaller glove. You have to get used to using that big glove. And I say this because I used to be a first baseman, and when I coached, the first baseman had a lot of times it was difficult reaching out, catching the ball. You don't have that padding. It's more a bigger glove. And I think that had a problem with fielding balls, kind of picking the ball. But he has definitely improved here in the last 10 days, made some great plays, fielding the ball, leading the pitcher at first base. And we would love to see more of that out of him at first.
Yeah, I agree. And Chapman's got to come around on offense. And Devers, he tries to hit a home run every time he's up at bat. I think at this time in his career, I think he should just try to get the ball in for a base hit.
It looks that way. It looks that way, Mitch. He just swings hard. And, talking to Chili Davis coached Rafi Devers in Boston. And he said the thing that I would love to see Rafi do is use his arms more instead of his upper shoulders, because that's where the swing comes in. He said if he uses his arms more and his hands more, he goes to the left field. And I said this earlier when he was with the Red Sox, he used to pelt the Green Monster going the opposite way. He did that in Arizona, hit a couple balls in left field, and one time the left fielder caught a beautiful ball. But that's what I would love to see him do. Put the ball in play, wait till the ball comes in a little deeper, and then go the opposite way and cut that swing down a little bit.
Yeah, I was at the game Tuesday night when they played the Diamondbacks down here, and I tell you, everybody around me and everywhere I looked, there were Giants fans. There was not a single Diamondbacks fan was in my area, and that was a heartbreaker. But I'd rather see them lose that way in the very last inning, in the very last batter, than having them lose 10-1 or something and watching the game. I just have a question. The catcher, Haase, that's how you spell my last name, and I got a jersey coming. I'm wondering if he's going to come in as catcher anytime. Yeah.
Are you talking about Eric Haase? Yeah, Haase played with the Guardians. He played a little outfield there, and he's a backup catcher here. So that is your last name?
Yeah, it's my last name. It was amazing to see him come up. I was like, hey, we share the last name. I wonder if we're related. But there's so few of us have that name. But I got a jersey with his name coming at me next week.
That's great.
But I'm just wondering, he's a backup. Is he going to get any lead time? I mean, the Giants on that last road trip, they look tired. They look tired to me.
And that Arizona Diamondback series, it did. That was a tough road trip, going to L.A. for 4 and then flying into Sacramento and playing 3 there. They did play well Saturday and Sunday, leaving Sacramento with a 4-3 record. They did have some momentum, but day after day there was no days off there. And then when they got home after the Arizona series, they had Thursday off, and now they're playing a 6-day road trip. But this next road trip's going to be a big challenge for them, going into Colorado, going to Milwaukee and playing 4, and then finishing up with the Cubs. So there's some good baseball with Milwaukee and the Cubs. And don't give up on the Rockies. The Rockies are playing a lot better than what they have in the past few years.
Yeah, that's true. But I like to see, I'm going to the games when they come down here again, and I just want to see them when they go on the road. They just need to do better than 500.
They're not playing well on the road.
Yeah, they got to get out of
it's a big miss when you're looking at home. Yeah, when you're looking at their road trip, they're 10-18 on the road, and that's how it's going to make it. They're 11-14 at home. Those numbers have to improve on the road, and I'm right there with you. They played a little flat in Arizona. The Marte walk-off home run was a gut punch. Never saw that one coming, and they ended up losing 3. So they're going to come back. Winning tomorrow to win this White Sox series would be a big plus to the Battle of Diamondbacks Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
I'm kind of wondering if I should go to the game because every game I went to, they lose. I'm wondering if I'm jinxing them.
Well, let me do this, Mitch. Get your jersey and go in there, and then that's going to change your luck.
There you go. Positivity. I like it.
All right, Mitch. Thanks for the call. Yeah, I appreciate it. Let's go to Vacaville and talk to Mark. Mark, a big win today. What'd you think of the Giants? Did they change the momentum at all?
Wow, you know what? I was at last night's game. You had a previous caller who said he left after they scored the 9 runs. I left last night's game after the White Sox scored their 9 runs. I just felt deflated. But Bill, here's the back.
That fourth inning, man. That fourth inning, Mark, was ugly, boy. That just 13 hitters came up, and the White Sox just kept adding on, and you just didn't know when that inning was going to end. And finally, 9 runs after, they walked off that field, and there was some boo birds out at that ballpark yesterday.
Yeah, I wasn't one of them. I love my team. I love the organization, but it's a jigsaw puzzle, and the pieces have not connected, and that's how I'm looking at it. So
that's a great way to look at it too.
That being said, Bill, I haven't spoken to you in years. The last time I spoke with you, your road dog Vida was with you, and we had a good laugh and a good memories and stuff. I remember the topic that I brought up that really embarrassed Vida was in 1972. They were having a road game in Baltimore. Vida hit a double. He was on second base. He was taking the lead, and Elrod Hendricks was the catcher. And Vida was picking his fingernail. He had the lead, but he was looking at his fingernail, and Elrod ran from the catcher's position and tagged him out. And Vida,
did you bring it up? Did you bring that up, Mark, at the time? Did you bring it up with him?
Vida, yeah, that was the last time we talked. And Vida, he didn't do it, but he wanted to hang up the phone. That's not something that's a memory that a ball player wants to be shared.
But, he got embarrassed on that one. He probably was saying, "Where did you remember that, Mark? How did you remember that? Nobody remembers that."
And I was maybe 9 or 10 years old watching the A's game when the pitchers were still hitting. But Bill, the real reason for my call is on Memorial Day Monday, the Giants, the great organization that they are honoring a World War II veteran. She's not a relative, but I've been knowing her a long time, Miss Elizabeth Tate. She's 103 years old.
Great.
She's one of the last few remaining Rosie the Riveters.
Wow.
And she lives here in the Bay Area. And, the Warriors honored her with a halftime show last year. So, she's iconic, and, it's always great. People get honored when they're not amongst us anymore, but to have someone to give them their roses while they can still smell them is a big deal, man. You know,
she's
so
a star,
they're
right, Mark?
honoring
She's
her.
a star. She's a star, and what she's done in her lifetime, and how long as she's lived. And I'm glad when teams do that. The Giants do a lot of the celebration to different people, and I love what they do with the teachers thing, NBC Bay Area. They do give back to the community, and they do, put these people on stage, and they should. And I'm glad you bring that up, and we'll definitely we'll look at that on Monday.
Yeah, well, let me give you a couple more details, and I'll let you go, Bill. She's been named the honorary captain for that game. So she will be out at home plate 10 minutes before first pitch, exchanging the lineup card. So she's wheelchair-bound and, 103, so she can't throw out a first pitch. But just to do the lineup card exchange is real big for her. She has her faculties, but, and she's a big baseball fan. Of course, her favorite player was Willie Mays. She saw him play and whatnot. And, she's just a very part of our American history as a service member, because whether people look at it like this or not, the women won that war because the men were
You're
overseas
absolutely right.
fighting.
Yep.
But no, we didn't have any men to work in the shipyards and to build and prepare and do all that. And so, again, she's one of the original Rosie the Riveters. And, she's just getting her flowers while she can still smell them, and I want all the people that'll be in attendance on Memorial Day to just give her a shout-out, man.
Yeah, give her a standing
So
ovation and let her see what people deserve, and she deserves that. And that's pretty cool to do the lineups. I think that's going to be a special time for her, and as well as for Giants fans to recognize her. And I'm so glad, Mark, you brought that up, and more Giants fans will see it and understand who she is. And what the hell, man, when you're over 100 years old, she needs to get every prop that she can get.
Thank you, Bill. And if you make it that far, they're building a statue for you, man.
Mark, thanks for the call. I appreciate it, Mark, and I'll definitely keep watching to see her on Monday. But great stuff right there, Mark. I thank you. All right, we're going to take a quick break on the Extra Inning post-game show. More coming up. Got some more calls coming. And I got a couple good interviews down the road here. Will Venable, the manager of the Chicago White Sox, and I sat down middle of the week, and we talked about his way to being a manager in the big leagues. Of course, his father, Max, was a teammate of mine. Max and Molly, you saw him at the game today. Kruk and Kipe talked about him and had a great conversation with Will. And then I sat down with Keaton Wynn. I got in the locker room and sat down in his locker to talk to Keaton Wynn about being a reliever, high leverage situations, and, of course, throwing that mighty, mighty curveball as well as that forkball. All right, that's all coming up down the road. More phone calls coming up as we take a quick break and come back with more right here on KNBR, the sports leader.
You're listening to the former Giants righty. It's KNBR Extra Innings with Bill Laskey.
Sponsored by Lenardi's Markets of the Bay Area. Quite simply, the best.
Heard on your Apple HomePod by saying play KNBR.
You win by 10, you lose by 10. It only counts for one. I think it's always important to bounce back, regardless of the prior result. Learn from whatever might have just happened, good or bad, and take it into your next opportunity. And, with how much talent we have, continuing down that path mentally, I think will allow us to string together wins, string together good weeks where we're playing the brand of baseball we know we can. So, like you said, a game like this puts us in the right direction. So, yeah, it was a big one.
Back on KNBR with Bill Laskey, that was Harrison Bader talking about what this team could do. And I think that Clubhouse can see the talent that they have in there, and it's just got to regroup. You just got to go 1 through 9, and they did that so well today. 14 hits, and they scored 10 runs, 3 home run balls, one by Casey Schmidt, his 10th, a 1-1 cutter. He didn't miss that. That happened in the 5th inning with Arise, who got a base hit, a 2-run home run then. And then later in that same inning, bases loaded came up, and Bader hit one straightaway center field, a 3-1 fastball. He loves that ball up, and he mashed that one 425 feet. And that just opened up the game. That was his 5th home run on the season. And then in the 8th inning, Willie Adames got jumped in here. He jumped in. He was the only one that didn't have a hit at that time. What does he do? He hits his 6th home run. And it was a 3-2 fastball, and he didn't miss that one, 385 feet into the bleachers. And the Giants pull out a nice win, 10-3. Now they move into trying to win this series tomorrow. Robbie Ray on the Hill's got to bounce back after that Diamondback start and see if they can win this series. I think everybody that I've been listening to, calling in today, that's the only way you're going to get back to 500. I mentioned it with Don Mattingly taking over the Phillies, and that was back when the Giants went to Philadelphia, and he had just become the manager, and they start playing a little bit better. They start playing consistent. They play with confidence, and I think this team has that talent. We've been talking about it all year. They just have to come and play a little harder, and the errors have to be cleaned up. All right, let's go to the phone lines, 415-808-KNBR. Let's go to Steve. He's in San Francisco. Steve, you're on with Bill Laskey on a Saturday. How you doing?
Hey, what's up, Bill? How you doing tonight? I am ecstatic for a win. I cannot complain. I am going to take it one step back of being, that brings I've seen every game this year. I'm a big member of seeing there. I've been 11 and 13 is the home record now, if I'm correct. And
11 of them, I'll tell you in a second. I got it right. They're 11 and 14. 11 and 14 at home, and then they're 10 and 18 on the road. No, I think you're right. 10 and 13. 11 and 13. You're right.
Just seeing that baseball at home, it's like the road trips were heartbreaking. I mean, watching them from home, it's just heartbreaking. The Philly series, just all those walk-offs during the double day-game series, you can't not be a little bit heartbroken. Loving seeing this kind of baseball. It's like, how do we keep this consistent? Is I think my biggest thing now. I'm loving the kind of change-up with what Tony's doing. I love Eldridge out there. I love Susak out there. Luis is just one of those players you can't not be excited about. Like, every time he comes to the plate, you're just ecstatic.
Mm-hmm. And I just love how he approaches it. Don't you, Steve, how he approaches that bat? He takes that first pitch a lot, which sometimes I'm baffled about because most of the time the opposition knows that, and they're going to throw him a fastball right down the middle. It seems like it. But as the later part of the games, when he gets into situations in that 4th, 5th, 6th inning, he jumps on that first pitch, and he sees that hole in left field. Saw that the other night when he did it. Professional hitter. Of course, I was on the warm-up show. I was talking to John Miller about it, and I said, John, back in the day, Rod Carew did that. And then Pete Rose was another one that did that. And, of course, we always talk about Tony Gwynn, just a premier hitter. And that's kind of the old school that Luis Arise brings to the plate.
Oh, I love his first pitch take or his second pitch. Whenever he takes a pitch and he looks back at the umpire and looks back at the pitcher, you can't see that in the stadium. That look back he does is unmatched. It's him when he gets on base too. After he's an on base hitter. I was talking to my brother today who joined me at the game, and I was like, I almost want to see him almost like either lead off because he's almost like always going to take a pitch. He's always almost going to get on base. Like he's going to get on base or make a good swing at getting on base. And even
and that's, you think about this, Steve. You think why he can't talk to Jung-Hoo Lee a little bit more about it, or Willie Adames, because that leadoff hitter is the perfect call that you said about a Luis Ariz. He's the perfect kind of guy. You take pitches, you get the count in your leverage, and then you go the opposite way you have to, or you pull. But I think that's what we want to see a little bit more of Jung-Hoo Lee when he gets healthy, to bunt a little bit more, take the ball to left field. Jung-Hoo Lee was, when he was hot, he was using all parts of the field, and that's what Ariz does all the time.
Luis, you can't beat that. Even Adames, like, he's finally kind of hot. He's feeling himself. I'd love to see it. I'd love to see Chappie do a little bit more. I mean, I love Chappie, and he's been feeling himself a little bit more as well at the plate, but getting those players hot and moving is where we need to go. And I love to see Gilbert. I love to see, excuse my language right there, but seeing even Bader hit that grand slam today, you cannot beat the players getting hot at the plate and moving the ball.
Steve, do you think Casey Schmidt is the electricity in this lineup? Do you think he's that electric plug when he hits the ball, it just kind of carries the team?
It always does. It's interesting you say that. I was talking with my best friend about Giants baseball, and he was like, it's crazy to think Casey Schmidt is our number one hitter when he comes to the plate. He's going to do something every time he steps up to the plate, which is something I wasn't expecting this year at all. And he is one of those pieces where you want to see him at bat. I love to see him just changing positions, stepping up to the plate, and being able to, with Ramos being out, stepping up and actually being.
Yeah, the thing that Casey we've seen in past years, swinging with balls out of the zone, the balls off the corner, and you're starting to see more right-handers throwing that breaking ball in the outside corner. He struck out today on a slider, or what might have been last night, a nice tight slider. But then he does adjust. When I put quotations around him, he's a gamer. Everything. He tries to figure it out. I love some of the post-game remarks. I'm not worried about tomorrow. I'm worried about today. I'm worried about my next at-bat and my next at-bat. And that's where he has learned about the game. When he was a rookie, he was so swinger. He swung at everything. Balls out of the zone, balls in the zone. He was a free swinger. Now it's more of a Casey coming to fashion, I think. He's learned the game. He's learned a little bit about the big leagues. And right now, he's got 10 home runs. He's got the most home runs on the team.
Where's he at on the RBIs, too? Is he pretty much at our most RBIs as well? I was looking at the scoreboard today.
Yeah, he's up to 26 right now. Yep, I would have to say that, too. He's at 26 right now. Devers is at 20. Chapman's at 16. Ariz is at 18. No doubt, most home runs and RBIs. You're totally right, Steve.
So he's leading the team across the board. Yeah, you just went down the list and you want those players. I mean, you're talking about the players who are being one of the most on the roster as well. How do we figure out the roster as we move forward and adapt? I mean, look to Baltimore.
Well, the other thing too, Steve, he's hitting 292 right now. Steve, add 292 to that batting average, and that tells you a little bit about what he can do with the bat. And a nice base hit to center field in the 6th inning. Had that sac fly in the 4th inning, which was so perfect. The ball was up. He got under it, flew the ball to right field. That was a great at-bat by him.
Great at-bat. I have one final question for you tonight about the overall trade right now and some of the things I've seen on MLB about Kyle Harrison. Mm-hmm. How are you feeling about the trade and how Kyle Harrison is doing right now as well?
Well, I think you got to look at the Giants' view of it. They got Rafael Devers for him. If you're looking at what the Red Sox got on him, they got nothing out of him. I've interviewed Kyle Harrison so many times when he was in AAA into the big leagues. I always thought he was going to mature into a pitcher. Now you start seeing the top 5 pitchers that could win the Cy Young, and his name's in it. And I just love his ability to learn. He's learned the breaking ball, to take a little bit more off the breaking ball. He always had that extra life on his fastball, if you remember, Steve, that elevated fastball where it had that little jump into it. And, boy, I watched that game when he pitched against the Cubs. Man, he was electric against the Cubs the other day.
Yeah. No, it's been unmatched. He's one of my local friends, best friends, so I've been following him, and I'm like, I cannot beat what he's doing right now. So I wanted to get your just feedback on what you've seen with him, and it's unmatched.
I've always liked him. I've always liked him as a pitcher. I've always liked his demeanor. Yep, he was a good Giant, and at that time I think that made that deal for Devers. They wanted a young, prominent guy, and they took him. But Boston didn't do anything with him. They put him in AAA. They brought him up for a couple starts. They never really evaluated him, and Milwaukee came in and swooped him up, and now he's one of the best pitchers in Brewers.
Yeah, I mean, one of the top 4, I think, strikeout pitchers in the MLB right now
Sure.
too. So it's something that's like. They definitely didn't utilize him the way they did.
Well, they're going to see him next week. They're going to see him against Milwaukee. They're going to go in Milwaukee the first week of June. They got a 4-game stint. I don't know if he falls in those 4 games, but I'm pretty sure if he does, that's going to be a fun game to watch him compete.
Oh, yeah. I'll definitely be pulling that up on MLB TV to see what's going on there.
Steve, thanks for the call. Good stuff right there, my friend. Really good. Let's go to Mick. He's in San Leandro. Mick, you're on an extra inning post-game show. How are you? He's gone. All right, let's go to Berkeley and talk to Andrea. Andrea, on a Saturday, we can't say it's a fun day Saturday, but we can sure beat that 4-game losing streak by breaking that and getting a win today. What'd you think of the game today, Andrea?
Yeah, no, that was a great game and a great show, and much needed to get that win. And the Giants did it in very dramatic fashion, I must say. 2 grand slams in 1 week for Bader.
He almost had 3. Remember that, Andrea? He hit one in Arizona that went right to the wall, and they caught it. He almost had 3 of them this week.
Oh, yeah, but we'll take 2. He's got that playful Gemini energy. He's June 3rd, 94. And first things first, flowers to Kylan Mills in the pregame show. I don't know if you saw it, but you were talking about, burning sage and letting out any negative energy and bringing in positive energy. And I thought that was really cool. I know.
I didn't see that. So you had to have enlightened yourself on that one, right, Andrea?
I was like, hey, we're not, we're going mainstream. We got Giants pregame talking about burning sage, and of course, Lindor of the Mets was burning sage a while ago. So, spirituality is really important. Baseball gods and goddesses, important to use spiritual approaches. And that was really nice that she talked about that. And, kind of changing up the energy and the vibe. And
well,
really
baseball players are superstitious. You know that, Andre. Yeah. Anything you do correctly, you're going to do it over and over again because all baseball players have that. I had it when I played all the way back to high school, wearing the same uniform, wearing the same sleeves, walking the same way to school. The superstitions are always built like that, and you say it this in a different way, but it's so true.
Yes. I think, as above, so below, whatever works to balance the emotional, the physical, the spiritual, and be creatures of habit. That's baseball and their superstitions. And I think, it can be used for the positive, and Kylan Mills talked about that. And, sure enough, there was a lot of positive energy to go around. And, Schmidt did well, too. Kudos to him. March 1st, 99. He did well getting a home run. And it was just really nice to have, 10 runs and 14 hits after the drought we've been having.
Yeah, the 4-game losing streak, I've talked about it several times when they Sacramento and they had a nice winning 2-game. They beat the Athletics 2 out of 3. They split with the Dodgers. And, last weekend I was like, okay, what could they do on this 10-game road trip? And I was happy with 5-5, because these teams were so good. The Dodgers, of course, Sacramento Athletics were in first place, and Arizona was playing good. But after they left Sacramento, I'm like, okay, see if they can win 2 out of 3 here and just win on 1 out of 3, and they would be 500. But losing 3 there, I did not see that coming, and I didn't see Robbie Ray having one of his, as they say, mulligans, because he's going to be back on the hill tomorrow, and he's got to shake that off.
Yeah, no, that's true. Usually we can count on him, so hopefully he'll be back into form tomorrow. And, Adrian Hauser, he pitched well enough, so that was good. So it was just like a combined team effort and time for positive change, let go of the old, bring in the new positive energy. And it was just really nice to see such a dramatic win. I mean, 10-3, the grand slams. It was really a no-doubter there. So Schmidt
Yeah,
hit
just got to
the home run.
continue, like you said, and you know what I said, superstitions, do what you did today and bring it in tomorrow.
Yes.
And with Robbie Ray on the hill, that first inning is going to be big for him. He scuffled in Arizona in the first inning. It's always that first inning for starting pitchers. If you can get some kind of rhythm with the catcher, I don't know if it's going to be Susac or Rodriguez or Haas, but he's got to get in that rhythm early. He loves pitching at Oracle Park. He does well here, and the Giants really need a good outing out of him tomorrow.
Yeah, no, they definitely do. And, you know, he's kind of overdue for a good outing, so we'll, you know, think good thoughts for that and have him get some positive energy going and have a good outing. And
then we can
you know,
say
just,
Sunday fun day, right, Andrea? The
That's
fun day's
right.
got to take the win tomorrow, right?
Yes, we'd like to say
All right,
Sunday,
Andrea.
Nothing.
Nothing worse than that. All right, Andrea, thanks for the call. It's always a pleasure catching up with you. All right, we're going to take a quick break. Coming back next is Keaton Wynn and I got into the Giants clubhouse and had a nice conversation with Keaton Wynn. And, of course, he is doing a fabulous job out of the bullpen. Next up, Keaton Wynn and I talk more baseball right here on the Extra Inning Postgame Show on KNBR, the sports leader.
This is KNBR Extra Innings with former Giants right-hander Bill Laskey.
Sponsored by Lenardi's Markets of the Bay Area. Quite simply, the best.
Hear him on your Apple HomePod by saying play KNBR. Play KNBR.
Welcome back to the Extra Inning Post-Game Show with Bill Laskey. I'm honored to have my guest on, and we're right in his locker at Oracle Park. Let's welcome in Keaton Wynn. Keaton, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Well, I want to go back in time here. You grew up in Iowa, and you went to a community college. You got drafted by the Giants your freshman year, but you didn't sign.
Yeah.
Why was that?
I think it was more of a maturity thing for me. I wasn't really quite ready to make the jump into pro ball. So I just decided to go back.
And you rolled the dice and you went back your sophomore year and they redrafted you.
Yeah, I know.
And you ended up signing a big difference in draft selection. Mm-hmm. Were you ready then after your sophomore year pretty much?
Yeah, I was definitely ready. Didn't know the Giants were going to draft me because I hadn't talked to them really, but I was ready to go.
You know, out of spring training, there was a lot of question marks if you could pitch out of the bullpen. Well, when I look back, you pitched out of the bullpen in college, junior college. You were also a starter. Back then, were you just a mixed match of it?
My freshman year, I was a starter, and then sophomore year, our coach was like, we've got a lot of freshmen in the team, and I need someone in the bullpen I can trust, so you've got to do it.
Well, when you look at your numbers, 31 games, 7 starts, 2.3 earned run average, 87 a third innings, 115 strikeouts, but you were primarily a fastball slider guy back then.
Yeah.
So when the velocity in junior college, what'd you hit back then?
I'd say I'd probably top at 95 every once in a while, but it was more probably 92, 93. It was really cold in Iowa.
Yeah, of course, in the Midwest, for sure.
It was kind of hard to get the velo up until we went to warmer places.
Yeah, Keaton Wynn joining me on the Extra Inning post-game show as we're standing in his locker. So you get drafted in 2018. You end up going to rookie ball, A ball. But then 2020 comes and it's COVID. Mm-hmm. What happened? Did you shut it down? Did you just put the ball down? Or what did you do?
No, so I didn't really put the ball down, but I really took the weight room a lot more serious. I think when I got drafted, I was probably 190 pounds, and then came out of COVID closer to 230, and all that work gave me a lot more velo.
When did you start throwing a split finger?
That was right after I got Tommy John. I was in the bullpen. They were like, we think this pitch would work for you, and it was one of those pitches where it was like, as soon as I started throwing, I was like, yeah, this pitch is for me.
So that happened in 2021, Tommy John. What did you do that whole year? It's a mental, issue. It's a physical issue. You're trying to figure out what's next. How hard was that for you?
It was pretty hard, but I had a couple guys going through it with me that I could kind of lean on. I just was trying to, focus on getting ready for the season and being the best player I could become.
So when they're going back, is a lot of stretching in your elbow? Is it a lot of stretching? What do they do in the mechanical part of it?
Obviously the surgery, you get the surgery, and then it's a lot of like getting the range of motion back and then building strength on top of that.
A lot of weighted balls, or how do they do the throwing aspect of it?
It's a form of weighted balls. It's kind of, you use like a trampoline and you throw the ball into that. It's not like the weighted balls you see us doing in the bullpen.
Right.
It's more like it's like a weighted ball program to let your body know that you're okay and you can throw.
So do you go 30 feet, 60 feet, 90 feet? Do you eventually get to a long throw?
It's a long process. It's like a couple weeks at 45 to 60 feet, and a couple weeks at 75 feet, and a couple weeks at 90.
When do you start throwing off a mound? How long does that take? 6 months or so? Maybe a little longer?
If I remember right, it's like the 6 or 7 month mark is what I did. But it might be different now.
Yeah.
The way guys are getting surgery now.
Keaton Wynn joining me on the Extra Inning post-game show. Now you come back. Now you're back to being a starting pitcher in Sacramento. The numbers weren't great. What was one of the issues that you had problems with?
Honestly, it came down to me, getting a little shoulder impingement again last year in 25. And then by the time I was ready to come back, they're like, we don't really want to build you up for the starter role again. Let's put you in the pen, see how you do. And then coming into spring training this year, they let me know really early. They were like, we think you help us a lot in the pen. So I just kind of.
Well, let's talk about spring training. You were hitless. You were dialed in, and all of a sudden, a grand slam hit.
Yeah.
I mean, that had to be a stop sign right then and there. Kind of like, okay, I got to forget about it and get back out there.
Yeah. It's just,
how hard was that for you?
I wouldn't say it was hard. I'm pretty good at flushing it. But, it's baseball. Sometimes the game comes and gets you. So it got me that day.
So now you're in the bullpen, and there's a different way of warming up, of course. Now you're really a two-pitch pitcher, a fastball and a split finger. Are you throwing a slider anymore?
I'm still working on it, but I just haven't really.
It's more of a two-pitch option.
Yeah, I haven't really had.
Because your velo's up,
the
velo's up, and the split finger's nasty.
Yeah.
There was one line that Gabe Kapler said. He said Keaton Wynn's splitter is real evil.
Yeah.
At times it is, no
yeah,
question. One of the things I notice when Patrick Bailey sometimes is catching you, he wants you to kind of throw it right down the middle because of the movement. And some days it's moving really good, and some days it's just fluttering.
Yeah.
What's the difference, and how do you fix it?
The difference between the flutter or like.
The flutter and the quick one, the quick turn.
The reason he wants me to set up over the middle is because throw it over the middle is just like middle on top of the plate, because it plays the best when it's coming like that towards the bottom of the zone and then just falls off.
Right.
When it's fluttering, it's just kind of a thing where I have to get my sights down and really hone in on that bottom line of the zone.
Do you ever get blisters? Do you ever get calluses between your fingers?
Yeah, definitely.
Because the seam seems like it's so sharp, especially throwing a split finger.
Yeah.
I came up with a Roger Craig era, and we all had to throw it, but man, my fingers were raw after a while.
So like when I was a starter, I had it really bad, but now that I'm in the bullpen, I can get away with it a little bit more, just because I'm not, throwing it a ton every game. But
so let's get to the bullpen real quick. How many pitches does it take you to warm up? And Jesse Chavez is good at telling you what's coming down the road and batters. What is the mentality of getting the ball, now you're up, knowing you're going to be in that game? How many pitches does it take?
I mean, I just try and get as many as it takes to get my arm hot. I'm trying to get at least 2 of every pitch and then go from there. Really.
And will you know how that split finger's thrown once you start throwing it? Because each day is different, right?
Yeah, I mean, in the bullpen, it's kind of weird, like, the days where I'm like, I don't have my pen or my splitter in the bullpen are usually the ones where I get in the game. I'm like, it's my best pitch for sure.
Actually, when you come into the game, you get like 5 or 6 warm-up pitches. It's solely different from the bullpen coming into a game scenario. Now you're warming up. The other opposition's looking at their iPads against you. What do you want to do in the mindset with that first pitch?
First pitch of the game?
First pitch when you're coming in. Just throw a strike, of course.
Yeah, throw a strike, try and get, start the roll, getting a guy out in 3 pitches or less.
Yeah.
Looking at a quick inning.
Walks always haunt every pitcher.
Yeah.
That's one of the biggest things. That sometimes relievers, that first hitter gets a walk. That's one of the mortal sins of being a pitcher. How do you take that into your mindset into a game?
If I walk the guy, I'm like, that at bat's over. Now I just got to get a double play. Got to make a pitch and get a double play.
And the double play comes with that split finger. You get a lot of ground balls, a lot of rollovers, things that you're thinking about when you come into a game with people on base. Those are things that you're actually talking over Patrick Bailey or other catchers. A point of the game where you have to throw a strike. What do you say to yourself?
I don't really say anything, honestly. I just do it.
You're looking at the target and going for it.
It's just another pitch. I'm just going to throw a strike.
Yeah. Mental part of the game, in between innings, thinking about the next 3 hitters. How are you approaching the next inning when you throw more than 1 inning?
Just sneaking a peek at the lineup and then figuring out, getting with a pitching coach and just trying to figure out how I'm going to dominate.
Is there a lot of scouting reports you have to go over now that you're in the bullpen? Jesse Chavez kind of give you some ideas?
Yeah, Jesse's great down there. He does a great job of letting you know what's up next, how to attack this guy from pitch 1 to get him out.
And he's telling you what you're coming after when you're coming in the game.
Yeah.
How does pitch com? Do you like pitch com? Do you like it?
Yeah, I mean, I only like it because of the pitch clock. Like, if we didn't have the pitch clock, we wouldn't really need pitch com.
Right.
But it does help, like, getting you the...
Do you like the old style with numbers or no?
Yeah, if there was no pitch clock, I'd say let's do that. But
I always like that, of course, location
Yeah.
of the pitch, things like that. Well, as we finish up here, certain scenarios, especially in the 7th and 8th inning, that you're starting to come in now with the lead, progression of your mindset of, hey, I got to hold this, I got to get it to the closer. Any thoughts on that when you're ready to come into a game with a lead?
no, I try to dumb it down as much as I can. I'm just like, I'm going to see if I can get you out in 3 pitches. And if I can't, I'm going to see if I can get you out in 4.
Well, the biggest thing now, you're in that bullpen for good. You got a regular per day thing of knowing what you're going to do. Is there anything different physically of weights, running, things like that?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, with a starter, you get, your set
get 4
days, and
days.
you know what you're going to do each and every day. But in the bullpen, you definitely have to pick your days a little better, like your heavy arm care days or your heavy running days and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, Keaton, it's a pleasure. Always had you on the show before, and again, congratulations, and keep it going, buddy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Keaton Wynn. That was Keaton Wynn on the Extra Inning Post Game Show. More coming up right here on KNBR, the Sports Leader.
KNBR Extra Innings with Bill Laskey keeps the postgame rolling live right here.
Sponsored by Lenardi's Markets of the Bay Area. Quite simply, the best.
On KNBR 104.5 FM and 680 AM. The sports leader.
All right, welcome back to the Extra Inning Post-Game Show on a Saturday. Giants break a 4-game losing streak as they win today 10-3. 10 runs, 14 hits for the San Francisco Giants. 3 runs, 10 hits for the Chicago White Sox. Going to do it again tomorrow, 1:05 first pitch. Robbie Ray takes the hill. Today, Adrian Hauser didn't get 5 innings in. Matt Gage ends up getting a win. He went an inning and a third. He's 4-1. Sam Hedges came in for an inning, and Joel Peguera came in for 2 as the bullpen ended up going 4 1/3 innings, only giving up 3 hits, 1 walk, and 7 strikeouts. So a good game, and they needed to get this going to get a win tomorrow and win the series. And then they play 3 games against Arizona. Remember, tomorrow's a day game, 1:05. Monday, Memorial Day, is a 2:05 start. Tuesday's a night game, 6:45. And then on Wednesday's a day game, 12:45. So you got 3 day games coming up here at Oracle Park. Coming up next, I sit down with Will Venable. Of course, it's in his second full year with the Chicago White Sox as a full-time manager. Of course, he coached with the Cubs under Joe Madden. He was with the Red Sox with Alex Cora. And he also won the World Series when Bruce Bochy managed the Texas Rangers. But a lot of good mentoring for Will Venable, and he's got the White Sox turned in the right direction. But I got to know him a little bit. Max's dad and Molly, good friends of mine from way back when we played as teammates. And I watched Will as he went through Princeton playing basketball and baseball. I got to know him a little bit through Max. But watching him 9 years in the major leagues as a player, and then he wanted to step it up and become a major league coach. And now he's got one of the manager's jobs in the 30 teams in Major League Baseball. I sat down with Will Venable, get to know a little bit about him, and get you to understand who Will Venable is. Of course, in Northern California, grew up in Northern California, and now he's going to be one of the best managers. There's no question about it. Will Venable next, right here on the Extra Inning Postgame Show on KNBR, the sports leader.
Bill is back.
Fired up, bringing it, all excited.
This is KNBR Extra Innings with Bill Laskey.
Sponsored by Lenardi's Markets of the Bay Area. Quite simply, the best.
Listen on your Google Home smart speaker by saying play KNBR.
Welcome back to the Extra Inning Post-Game Show with Bill Laskey. I'm delighted to bring my guest on. He played 9 years in professional baseball. He also won a World Series with the Texas Rangers in 2023. And he's currently in his second full year as the manager of the Chicago White Sox. Let's bring in Will Venable. Will, how are you today?
I'm doing great, Bill. Thanks. How are you?
A pleasure to have you on. And you know I'm very good friends with your mom and dad, Max and Molly. Max and I played with the Giants together, and all three of us were in Venezuela together. I want to recall some of your younger days, if you remember, in following your dad around as a professional baseball player.
Yeah, I definitely remember a lot of the stuff, being able to cruise around. The Giants were a little before my time when I remember, but certainly, being young when he was with the Reds, definitely when he was with the Angels. We played in the Dominican, remember that. And then obviously, when he went to Japan after his big league career, definitely remember that. I think I was like 10 or 11 years old. So lots of good memories following Maxie around baseball teams.
Well, let's go back in time a little bit. You left San Rafael and you ended up going to Princeton University, but the glove was in the closet. You had the basketball in your hands. What was so intriguing about the game of basketball you love so much?
That's a good question. I just loved it, man. I just always remember, as much as I was around baseball, just loving the game of basketball. Just having a basketball in my hands, going out there and shooting hoops, whether that was in the front yard or out with friends in school with my teams, whatever it might be. Just love the game of basketball. And always envisioned myself playing basketball, but that wasn't in my future, and I had to give baseball a try.
Well, you had John Thompson III as your head coach at Princeton. What did he bring to you as a leader in basketball?
He brought a lot, definitely a player's coach, someone that really understood, the kind of the challenges that we had as players, was very forward thinking in that way, always valuing kind of our opinions, gave us a voice. Really good job of holding us accountable, but in the way that you appreciate as a player. So yeah, he's just one of those guys that, great leader, but definitely kind of a player's coach that led that way.
Well, Will, something else happened. Another door opened at Princeton as Scott Bradley came knocking on your door saying, "Hey, Will, hey, can you put that glove and bat back in your hands and come play baseball?" And then on the other side of it, Molly, your mom, said, "Why don't you?"
Yeah, I was really lucky, really, with all this. I've just been lucky to have, obviously the support of my parents, but the coaches along the way, Coach Bradley being one of them. and going to Princeton, I did go with the thought that I would give both basketball and baseball a shot. Wasn't able to play baseball my freshman year just because I was kind of overwhelmed. But it really was Molly who had recognized the opportunity that baseball had given to Maxie and really pushed me to get back into it and give it a try. And I did, and glad I listened to Mama.
Will Venable joined me on the Extra Inning post-game show. Did you play both sports when you were Princeton, or did you have to play baseball and not basketball, or was it either way?
Yeah, both after my freshman year, just basketball my freshman year, and then my sophomore through senior year played both.
So you end up get drafted by the Baltimore Orioles. You pass on that. You end up playing your senior year. You hit 385, 9 home runs, and now the San Diego Padres come knocking on your door. Was that something that intrigued you to go into pro ball at that time?
Yeah, it was kind of just making the decision between basketball and baseball at that point, and I had someone representing me on the basketball side, and there may have been a couple, overseas opportunities, but certainly the NBA wasn't in my future, and I was not sure what my ceiling was going to be in baseball, and so just thought I would give that a try, and it ended up working out that I was drafted by the Padres, who Maxie was also working for at the time in player development, so it was perfect, and really, a huge decision that I'm really glad that I made.
Well, it worked out really well for you. You get drafted, and a few years later, you get up to the big leagues at 25 years old, 2008, and then it just started clobbering right after that. In 2009, you had over 300 batting plate appearances and went into 400, got up to 500. Everything was working well for you. Tell me a little bit about the outfield. A corner outfielder most of the time?
Yeah, some corner outfield, mostly right, some center. Just really fortunate to be part of the Padres organization, really at a time where there weren't a lot of, high-paid players or top prospects coming through. We really were, pitching and defense heavy, and there was a lot of opportunities for someone like me to find their way and get established in the league. We ended up, I think, 2010 having a pretty good season in which we were competitive and really in the playoff hunt right until the last day of the season. But really just a really good place with a lot of really good people to learn the game, get established, and really kind of build some long-lasting relationships with some special people in the game of baseball.
And Will, you had one of the better managers as a player development guy, a very good public person to talk to anytime you want. That was Bud Black, an ex-pitcher, of course. But I thought he managed those teams very well for many years. What did you think?
Yeah, he really did. And Buddy knew how to get the best out of our group. And, we had a clear identity. We were going to do it with pitching and defense. And him being a pitcher, like really, really good job of kind of leading that group along with Darren Balsley. Some really good pitching staffs. But Buddy was just a great leader in general. He's one of those guys that, you trusted, built relationships with all the players. And then you wanted to go out there and perform for them. Just because you kind of didn't want to let him down, and Buddy had that impact on people, and I really, really feel lucky that I was able to play for him for so long.
Well, Will, after 9 years, you're 33 years old. The next step was maybe going to coaching. You were probably talking to Max because he did that many years after he retired. When did you realize that you said, hey, this is something that I want to teach back? I want to get back into coaching.
Yeah, well, right when I was done, I called the people that were closest to me that had made the biggest impact on me. Of course, Maxie being one of those, but several coaches that I had, Dave Roberts, Buddy Black, and some different people across the league, just to tell them thank you for the impact they had made. And that led to a lot of different conversations about what the next step looked like. I ended up on the phone with some GMs and some different people across the league, just talking about what the next opportunity was going to be. That led to an opportunity with the Cubs to be a special assistant. And then after a summer of doing that, they offered me their first base coaching job, and that kind of kickstarted my coaching career.
It sure did, Will. 2018, you jumped right into Wrigley Field as the first base coach, and you were right back into big leagues. And of course, you had a pretty good manager, Joe Madden, somebody that you could look to, understand what his thoughts were. And at times, he was a little strange in some of the thoughts he did, but that was part of the game. How influential was he to watch him daily?
Yeah, Joe is awesome, and yeah, he did go about it his own way, which was really cool. And that's probably the biggest thing I learned from him, is to be confident in your approach and do it your way when you get that chance. And he was another guy that just did such a good job of building relationships with players. The thing that really stands out about Joe also is just how consistent he was with his demeanor, with his presence. After games, you wouldn't know if we'd won by 10 runs or lost by 10 runs. He was just so consistent in who he was. So just a great example of how to go about it on a daily basis and build relationships with players.
Well, Will, you moved from Wrigley Field to Fenway Park. Now you're with the Boston Red Sox with Alex Cora, a different style manager, but still one of the guys that puts the foot to the pedal when he wants you to win. What was his style different than Joe Madden?
Yeah, it's probably some more, structure than Joe, at least pregame, but very similar in their ability to, be consistent, to build relationship with players, and kind of take a strong leadership voice amongst the group. And Alex was just such a competitor. Every edge that he could find, he was putting in the work pregame. Really, setting high expectations for the staff, and kind of like, for me, just set a really clear expectation of what the work behind winning looks like. So, really lucky again to go from Joe Madden to Alex Cora. Just really special stuff.
Well, the last step, you went to the Texas Rangers, and something that they were talking about is you being the next manager there. Bruce Bochy jumps in there, and boy, what a difference that made of just reconstructing the lineup, understanding the game a little bit more from the three-time World Series champ here in San Francisco. How was it when you first met Bruce, and how did each day work out for you?
Yeah, Bosch was amazing, and that really was my time with him was what gave me the confidence that I was ready to, sit in that seat myself. But Bosch is just so inclusive, and for a guy who has accomplished what he's accomplished, to bring me into meetings, to in game just give me little tidbits of information and wisdom as he was working through problems and making moves during the game. I mean, I was exposed to one of the best managers of all time, and not just exposed to him, but exposed to every part of his program. So Bosch is amazing. The way he treated me is amazing. The exposure to his knowledge was amazing. And again, that really was kind of the finishing touches on what I thought I needed to be able to take over myself.
Well, Will, you went all the way to the finish line. You won the World Series. How cool was that to watch that for 162 games, go through the playoffs, and end up winning the World Series? How electric was that for you to see it, understand it, be with it, and now you have part of that in your resume?
Yeah, it's really special. I mean, that's why we're out here every day working so hard is to get that feeling, to be in that spot, and to watch how much goes into that. It starts with the players and the work that they do, and you don't get to win a World Series if you don't have really special players, and certainly that group did, led by Corey Seager and Marcus Simeon and just Nathan Eovaldi, just amazing human beings, amazing players, and then the coaching staff, Boch, Chris Young in the front office, all these guys. Just takes a special group to pull something like that off, and just feel fortunate that I was able to do it. And what an exciting ride it was.
A couple more minutes with the manager of the Chicago White Sox, Will Venable. So now you're with the same. Now, if you come from Texas into being the manager of the Chicago White Sox, when you come over to the White Sox, this team just went looking for wins. They're looking to build a dynasty, a franchise, something they haven't had in many years. You took a big challenge on. How did that work out for you so far?
Yeah, we're feeling like we've made progress, and really from the beginning in the interview process, the idea of teaming up with Chris Getz, who really from the beginning kind of laid out his vision and his plan, and it was really going to be based around, getting the right kinds of people in the building, that character matters, and that we're going to get these high character players. We're going to be thoughtful about who we surround them and support them with the staff, and set expectations and hold them accountable to things. And that's what we've done, and just feel really good about the way that he has led that vision and that process. We've seen it come to fruition now here with just some amazing guys that he's gone out and gotten. They're obviously very talented, but they're also really good guys who connect and create a really positive environment, a really fun culture to be around. So, we have a ton of work to do. We're excited to do it with the group that we have. We're going through these games every day, and regardless of the results, we're learning something and applying it for the next day and continuing to grow. So it's been good so far. Got a lot of work to do, but we're excited to do it.
Well, when we're ending up here, and I got to ask you a question about your mom. Molly made the best beef jerky in the world. Did she ever tell you the recipe for it?
You know what? If I bugged her enough, I think she might give me the recipe, but I think she's more excited to just make it for me. It is the best beef jerky of all time. Special stuff from Molly.
No doubt about it. Your parents are great people, and I appreciate your time today, Will. And again, all the best to you at the Chicago White Sox.
Thanks so much, Bill. Appreciate it.
That was Will Venable on the Extra Inning Postgame Show. More coming up right here on KNBR, the sports leader.
The game may be over, but we know you want to talk more ball. So KNBR Extra Innings with Bill Laskey continues.
Sponsored by Lenardi's Markets of the Bay Area. Quite simply, the best.
We are KNBR 104.5 and 6.8, the sports leader.
Welcome back to the Extra Inning postgame show as we close out a Saturday. Giants win at Oracle today 10-3 against the Chicago White Sox. They're now 21-31. Tomorrow, 1:05, Robbie Ray takes the hill for the San Francisco Giants. He's 3-6 with a 4.2 earned run average, going against Noah Schultz, a left-hander, 22-year-old young kid. He's a rookie in his first year with the Chicago White Sox. He's 2-3 with a 4.9 earned run average. I'll be doing the warm-up show tomorrow. It's starting at 11 a.m. I will have my guest Ben Ross from Channel 4 Sports, as well as Nick Piccaro. Nick Piccaro is a writer with the Arizona Republic, and we're going to talk a little bit more about the Diamondbacks and see how they are going to progress in that three-game series starting on Monday on Memorial Day. I want to thank my guests Will Venable and Keaton Wynn today. If you missed either one of those, they'll be on the All KNBR podcast. Tomorrow in the post-game show, got a couple great interviews. I interviewed Jesse Chavez. Of course, he's now the bullpen coach for the San Francisco Giants. And I caught up with Jonah Cox, one of the hottest hitters in minor league baseball, hitting over 400 for the Richmond Braves. I want to thank my producer today, Ryan McCarthy, and all you Giants fans for calling in. We'll do it again tomorrow after the final game against the White Sox. Have a great rest of Saturday night, and we're going to bring you more right here on KNBR, the sports leader.
It's another great outing for the righty on your home of San Francisco